Could you let my daughter stay the night, please? I'm begging you, the woman pleaded, extending a $2 bill in her hand. Mom, please don't leave me behind. I want to stay with you, the daughter cried. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Seeing the mother and daughter crying and hugging each other made my heart ache terribly. All right, I understand. Enjoy our lodge's famous spas and meals to the fullest. I don't need any money. Just take your time and relax, I assured them. So I invited the mother and daughter, who had arrived unexpectedly during a fierce blizzard, to stay at the lodge. Little did I know at that moment that this would lead to unexpected events later on. My name is John Smith. I manage a lodge at the foot of a certain mountain. Though unassuming, this lodge, called Mountain Lodge, has been in my family for generations. It's known for its meals made with fresh mountain ingredients and relaxing spas. Today, once again, there were no reservations. I sighed as I looked at the completely empty reservation book. Lately, the number of guests at the lodge had been decreasing. This whole area used to be just a small village with nothing much around. The problem was that urban development progressed nearby, and a big city was built close to our mountain lodge. This new city had many nice places to stay, and guests began choosing those over us. Mountain Lodge, though small, took pride in its good food and high-quality spas. When I was a kid, I remembered it being busy every day with hikers. But now, even Mountain Lodge couldn't compete with the newer places, which were more novel and convenient. Nowadays, hikers rarely came to Mountain Lodge. Instead, we started attracting guests with unique or complicated situations. As I organized the books, I suddenly remembered a certain individual. It was a story from when I first started running Mountain Lodge alone after losing my parents at a young age. I had sheltered someone from the mafia at Mountain Lodge. I was young and inexperienced back then, so I really panicked when that severely injured guest stumbled in. But looking back, it was a valuable experience. Even with that experience, it seemed like the lodge wasn't going to suddenly become successful. Maybe it was time to make a change. I'm considering closing down, I muttered to myself as I flipped through the ledger pages, which were thin enough to fit in a single file. Then one day, it happened. It's really coming down today, I thought, looking outside the window at the fierce blizzard raging. The mountaintop, usually visible, was completely obscured, with the whole area blanketed in white. Businesses around were closing early. There were no reservations to begin with, and no guests would show up in this weather. Just as I headed to the entrance to turn off the light at the outer gate, I heard a faint female voice and the sound of someone knocking on the front door. I quickly opened the door to find a scantily clad, ragged-looking woman and a girl of about 10. Hey, what's wrong with y'all? I could tell at a glance they were in a bad way. I hurriedly invited them in and had them sit on the bench by the entrance for the time being. Explanations can wait. Right now, I'll bring a towel, I said while telling the two of them, who were shivering from the cold. I turned the heating on full blast and pulled up towels from a linen room. Here, use these. Thank you so much, said the woman and girl, likely mother and daughter, looking very similar, huddling close together and shivering slightly while wrapped in towels. The sight of them tugged painfully at my heart. Is there any way I can help y'all? I asked. I hate to say it like this, but I'm used to having customers with circumstances like yours. I won't ask for your reasons, so just tell me what you need. Thank you so much. Well, hesitantly, the woman took something out of her pocket and held it out to me with trembling hands. This is all the money I have on me right now. In her hand was a $2 bill, and she looked at me with an expression filled with remorse as she apologized profusely. Please at least let my daughter stay the night. I'm begging you, she pleaded. Is that all? That's an easy request. I can accept this, I said, taking the money from her. But I can't possibly let you go. You're her mom, right? You shouldn't do things that make your daughter cry. Startled by my words, the woman looked over at the girl beside her. The girl was softly crying, tears streaming down her face. Mom, don't try to leave me behind. I don't want to be without you. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, the girl said as her mother tightly embraced her, waiting for their muffled sobs to subside. I went to the front desk to get a room key. Here, go up to the second floor. It's the room at the very end. Make yourselves at home. Are you sure this is okay? The woman asked. Don't worry about it. Plus, there aren't any other guests tonight. While you're at it, warm up in the spas and have some dinner. I don't need any money. Just take your time and relax, I insisted. We couldn't possibly impose that much. The woman started to decline politely, but then the girl's stomach growled loudly. Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm really hungry, and I want to get in this bath too, the girl said. Oh, you. That's a good sign. She's feeling at ease now. I chuckled. Atta girl. Now go warm up in the spas first. Let me know when you're done, and I'll have a meal waiting in your room. Trying to sound more formal and light-hearted, the woman finally seemed to relax a bit and smiled. Thank you so much. We'll gratefully accept your kind offer. Sure thing. Take your time and enjoy Mountain Lodge's famous spas and cuisine, I said. After welcoming the mother and daughter into the lodge and showing them to the spas, I immediately started preparing a meal. Alrighty then, it's been a while since I've made a proper meal, I thought to myself as I began cooking dishes specifically for that mother and daughter. I've always enjoyed cooking, growing up watching my grandfather and father, both chefs, prepare meals. Let's see, maybe a hot pot to warm them up and some sweet dishes. There's no set menu for the cuisine at Mountain Lodge. I make a point to tailor it to each guest's needs. This has been our philosophy since the lodge was founded. As I finished preparing each dish one by one, I heard footsteps approaching from the hallway outside. Miss, we're done with our bath. The girl's voice resounded loudly. Feeling relieved, I parted the curtain separating the kitchen and hallway and found the mother and daughter looking thoroughly warmed up. Thank you so much. Truly, you even prepared bathrobes for us. The woman expressed her sincere gratitude and headed towards the guest room, holding the girl's hand. They're still a bit wary of me, huh? I thought. The woman never called her daughter by name in front of me. It didn't seem accidental, but rather intentional, though well thought out. They probably didn't expect the lodge they turned to for help to be run by such a rough-looking guy, all alone. As a mother shouldering some heavy circumstances, I thought it was the right call. I just hoped they could relax and rest up a bit. With that wish, I started putting the finishing touches on the meal. Wow, amazing. It looks so yummy, the girl exclaimed when I brought the food to the guest room and laid it out on the table. Can I really eat all this? She asked. Sure can. There's plenty more where that came from, so don't hold back and eat your fill, I replied. Yay, thank you, mister. The girl cheered before saying a quick prayer and starting to eat with gusto. Meanwhile, the mother watched over her daughter's delight with a gentle gaze as she slowly ate. How is it? Do you like it? I asked. Yes, it's been so long since we've had such a luxurious meal, the mother replied. Glad to hear it. Take your time and savor it. If there's anything else you need, just holler. I really can't thank you enough for everything, I said warmly. Hey, we all help each other out in times of need, right? Don't do anything today, just rest and relax, okay? Thank you so much, I said as I finished serving the meal and was about to leave the guest room. The woman turned to face me and graciously thanked me with a nod. Her refined mannerisms made me think that she must come from a distinguished family. It seemed the troubling circumstances surrounding them ran quite deep. Early the next morning, as I was preparing breakfast, the mother and daughter from last night came out to the front desk together. Good morning. Thank you again for everything last night, the daughter said cheerfully, waving at me, while the mother graciously nodded her head in a deep, respectful manner. What's this? Y'all heading out already? I asked. Yes, we really can't impose on your kindness any further, the woman replied. Well, that's fine and all. But hey, you got someplace to go? I inquired. The woman looked flustered at my question. Good grief, I sighed. Well, anyhow, at least have some breakfast before you go. I already got it ready and all. It's all right, you don't gotta be so on guard. At the very least, there ain't nobody here who'd hurt you too, I reassured them. When I said that, the woman looked at me with a start, then she hung her head, looking apologetic. I'm sorry, she said. No need to apologize. You're a wise mother. Now come on, let's have some breakfast first, I said warmly. I led the mother and daughter to the dining room and laid out the morning meal I had prepared on the table. Thank you, mister. Time to eat, the daughter exclaimed happily as she dug into her food. Beside her, the mother had a gloomy expression and didn't even try to touch her meal. What's wrong? Are you feeling sick? I asked. No, it's not that, she replied. I prompted her to continue. Come on, out with it. Maybe there's something I can do to help. Even just saying it might make you feel better. She seemed to hesitate, wanting to say something. She was silent for a while, but eventually opened her mouth with a troubled expression. The truth is, my husband's company went bankrupt. Because of that, he disappeared, leaving behind massive debts for me and our daughter, she explained. I see, so you're being chased by debt collectors then? I guessed. Yes, I'm so ashamed, she replied, her demeanor sincere. If she was originally the wife of a company president, it made sense why her mannerisms were so refined. You haven't been able to divorce your husband? I asked. No, my husband disappeared, leaving everything as is. So there's nothing I can do about it right now, she explained sagely. I see. Do you have anywhere you can turn to, like your parents' place? I suggested. When my parents found out about my husband's downfall, they told me not to come back. I never got along well with them to begin with, so I had no intention of relying on them anyway, she replied. Mom, what's wrong? The daughter, Lily, asked suddenly, noticing her mother's distress. I saw darkness in her eyes as her expression clouded over. She stared into the void, not responding to her daughter's worried question. This is bad, I thought, feeling a sense of urgency. I recognized those lightless eyes. They were the same eyes as people who give up on everything, become desperate, and contemplate drastic measures. I had to keep her here, no matter what, I resolved. Why don't you and your daughter stay here for a while? I suggested. What? Well, as you can see, this is a rundown lodge, but when guests do stay, it can be tough handling things alone sometimes. So it would really help me out if you could work here as a live-in employee for a bit, I proposed. But why? Why would you go this far for complete strangers? She asked, clearly bothered by our unfamiliarity. If you're bothered that we're strangers, then we can get to know each other starting now, I said, placing my driver's license on the table. John Smith, nice to meet you. Thank you so much. I'm Sarah Nichols, and this is Lily Nichols, she introduced herself and her daughter. Mr. Smith, is it really okay if we live here starting today? Sarah asked. Yep, let's get along from now on, okay? I replied warmly. Thank you so much. I promise I'll repay this kindness, Sarah said, standing close to her brightly nodding daughter, Lily. Some light had returned to their eyes, and I felt relieved. For the time being, I had been thinking it was about time to start shifting Mountain Lodge towards closing down. But I couldn't say that anymore. I have no regrets. I willingly took this on myself, I thought, determined to ensure that Sarah and Lily wouldn't be inconvenienced. The off-season was definitely a bit rough. John, is something wrong? Sarah asked, noticing my distraction. Oh, Sarah, it's nothing, I replied, trying to divert her attention. That's this month's reservation book, right? Sarah peered at the wide-open, completely blank reservation book and tilted her head. Winter is difficult after all, huh? Yeah, there's barely any hikers. But I can't let this situation continue either, I admitted. John, I hope I'm not overstepping, but would you let me handle this for a bit? Sarah offered. Oh, you've got a good idea, I asked. Yes, I know someone in the lodging industry who was a business acquaintance of my husband's. If I contact them, they might be able to give some good advice, Sarah explained. I see. All right, give it a try, but don't push yourself too hard. If word gets out that you're here, they might track you down, I cautioned. Sarah smiled softly and immediately started making a call from the lodge's payphone. The results were great. Based on the advice she received, Sarah improved all sorts of systems at the lodge, from the reservation system to the website and management of various social media. She started heavily advertising the lodge. Sarah's skills, honed from supporting her husband's work behind the scenes, exceeded my expectations. Then, as the number of guests at the lodge gradually increased, Lily also started helping out with the work. Welcome to Mountain Lodge. Oh my, what an adorable hostess, don't you think, honey? A guest remarked. She looks about the same age as our granddaughter. How impressive, another guest exclaimed. Thank you so much. Let me show you to your room. Please come this way, Lily replied, beaming. Lily's cute and lively customer service greatly livened up Mountain Lodge. As an excellent poster girl in the mountains far from town, there was a small lodge where you could enjoy high-quality spas and delicious meals. That reputation spread rapidly, and guests started returning to Mountain Lodge. Then it suddenly happened. In the middle of the busy time after all the day's checkouts were done and cleaning and meal prep were starting, a bunch of thuggish guys gathered at the lodge's entrance. What's this? You guys need something, I asked, stepping forward. You the owner here? One of them demanded. Yeah, that's right, I confirmed. This woman's here, ain't she? The man showed me a photo of Sarah. I stared at it intently and shook my head. I don't know about that. Don't play dumb, he insisted. We know everything. Hand over the woman. That's right. If you obediently hand over the woman, we won't cause trouble for you, another man chimed in. Man, like I said, I don't know her. If you've got no business here, scram, I replied firmly. What do you say? We're being polite here, and you're getting all high and mighty, another thug challenged. Hey bro, you know this woman's got debts. If you really want to protect her, you could pay off her debts for her, one of the men said menacingly, getting closer. I kept my mouth shut, ready to face whatever consequences might come. Right then, another mafia member appeared at the entrance, demanding to know what was taking so long to bring back the women. I felt like I'd seen that man's face somewhere before and pondered for a moment. Boss, thank you for the trouble, one of the men said, addressing the new arrival. Boss, please tell him this owner keeps protecting the women, another man added. Huh? What's that? The boss questioned. Hey you, is that true? Wait, could it be? You're the guy? The man who seemed to be a mafia underboss gaped at me in astonishment. Our eyes met, and I finally remembered. I had met this man once before. Hey, you bastards, apologize now. The underboss commanded. What's this all of a sudden? One of the men replied. Boss, shut up and apologize right now. You're being too arrogant. The underboss insisted. I'm telling you, who the hell do you think this person is? The underboss forcefully pushed the other mafia members' heads down. His face paled, the underlings and the underboss apologized profusely. Yeah, this was about 10 years ago, I recalled. It was a day with a terrible storm. Having lost my parents around that time and somehow managing the lodge alone, I was wandering around absent-mindedly inside the quiet lodge with not a single guest. It's lonely, but can't be helped in this weather. Back then, we still had a decent number of guests, but on days with bad weather like that, the lodge was often dead silent. The time for same-day reservations had passed, and I was about to take a break myself when I heard a loud crashing sound from the entrance. What's that? Did the wind blow something in? I wondered aloud. Cautiously approaching the entrance, I opened the door. Whoa, I exclaimed as something large fell towards me. You the owner here? A large man asked, looking up at me. Yeah, sorry for startling you. Mind lending me a hand? He requested. Huh. I looked down at the man, perplexed. From where he had fallen, a pool of blood was slowly and steadily spreading. What happened to you? I asked. I made a bit of a blunder, you see. Got it. Just wait a sec, he replied weakly. It didn't matter who that man really was or that his wounds undeniably looked like gunshot wounds. The bottom line was I had to administer first aid. So I brought the lodge's first aid kit and a large number of unused towels to the man. Later, I found out that the man was the boss of a mafia family who had been chased by a rival family and stumbled into Mountain Lodge. Even after learning that fact, I couldn't bring myself to abandon him for some reason. So I sheltered him at Mountain Lodge until his wounds healed. Mr. Smith, I am truly sorry. To think a lodge boss was indebted to us here, the underboss apologized. No, it's only natural you didn't know back then. Your boss told me to choose a meeting spot far from the lodge so as not to cause me trouble, I explained. Is that so? You went all the way out there to see our boss off. I really can't thank you enough for what you did then. The underboss expressed gratitude. The underboss apologized profusely with the intensity of someone begging for forgiveness, while the underling yakuza behind him also apologized nervously. This was all a bit too chaotic, and I'd nearly forgotten. But I remembered the matter at hand and turned back to the mafia underboss. I continued. Would you mind going home for today? It'd be a real pain if you caused more of a scene. Yes, of course, the underboss agreed. Hey, you lot, we're pulling out, the boss commanded. Yes, sir, understood, the underlings responded. Oh, and one more thing, I added. Lay off the woman you're looking for. The proper thing to do is look for her husband who racked up the debt and ran, don't you think? Yes, understood. We'll be going then, the boss replied. After apologizing profusely one more time, the boss and the other mafia members left. John, Mr. Sarah and Lily hurriedly clambered down from the second floor. Are you all right? Are you hurt? Did those men do anything to you, miss? Sarah asked worriedly. I'm sorry. You must have been so scared, Lily added, clinging to me with her face all scrunched up. Calm down, both of you. I'm fine. Nothing happened to me, really, I reassured them. But how, mister? Did you beat up those scary guys? Lily asked. Something like that, I replied, patting Lily's head gently. I signaled to Sarah with my eyes. Let's talk once things settle down. Okay. All right, for now, first we've got to get ready to welcome today's guests. Sarah nodded. I urged Sarah and Lily on as I also returned to the lodge work. For the time being, if we no longer had to worry about debt collectors coming after Sarah and them, it probably meant this life would be coming to an end soon. I felt a bit like a hole might open up in my heart at that thought. Once we finished checking in the lodge guests and the day's work had settled down, we could address the situation further. I called Sarah and Lily to the employee room. Well, long story short, you don't have to worry about being chased by debt collectors anymore, Sarah. Thank you so much, John. I really don't know how to express my gratitude, Sarah replied, visibly relieved. Sarah must have gone through a lot while being pursued by debt collectors. Collapsing on the spot, Sarah repeatedly expressed her thanks. You beat up those scary guys, right, mister? You're so strong. Thank you. Lily chimed in. That's right. Now you can live freely anywhere with your mom, I assured Lily. Yeah, hooray. Hey. Of course, mister is going to be with us too, right? I want to live here forever with mom and mister. Lily exclaimed excitedly. About that, I glanced over at Sarah. She smiled awkwardly and gently turned Lily to face her, grasping her shoulders. Lily, listen carefully. Mr. John and us. We're strangers. We can't keep imposing on him forever, Sarah explained gently. Why? How come? I don't want to leave here. I'm going to live here with Mr. and Mom, Lily protested. No, Lily, please don't be selfish, Sarah replied. Lily persisted. No. Why do we have to leave? I love Mr. You do too, right, Mom? I know you do. At those words, Lily blurted out, and Sarah's face rapidly turned bright red. I'm so sorry, John. Please pretend you didn't hear that. I beg you. Please forget it. Sorry. I don't think I can just forget that, I replied gently, taking Sarah's hand as she stood there, her face flushed and frozen. Sarah, if you're okay with it, would you, keep living here from now on? I asked awkwardly. Sarah stared at me intently, and I felt embarrassed. I reflexively let go of her hand. Sorry, forget it. No way. I won't forget it this time. Sarah firmly grasped my hand as I tried to walk away. You let us stay here, right? We'll be in your care, inexperienced as we are. She squeezed my hand tightly, smiling brightly. I couldn't look directly at Sarah's face. Beside us, Lily was grinning mischievously at me. I must have had a really embarrassed look on my face. Some time passed after that commotion. I heard Sarah's former husband had his whereabouts discovered by the mafia and was being made to work at a shady company they ran to pay back the debt. In the end, the boss from back then called me just once. As he said, the lawyer took care of everything from Sarah's divorce proceedings to alimony distribution and arranging Lily's school transfer. Thanks to that, Sarah and I are able to live at the lodge with Lily without any worries, I explained. John, good morning. Breakfast prepped is all done, Lily announced happily. Oh, thanks. Lily already headed to school? I inquired. Yes, she's going happily today too. It seems she's already made friends and is having fun every day, Sarah replied. That's great to hear. I was really worried about Lily's school life, so I feel thoroughly relieved to hear it's going well, I said. There's a Parents' Day at Lily's school coming up, Sarah mentioned. That's nice. I'll figure something out here, even if I have to hire a part-timer, so you can go to Parents' Day with Lily, I reassured Sarah. If you say so, John, Sarah smiled. Lily says she wants her dad to come. Still not her dad yet, though. It's fine, isn't it? Go for her dad. I'll manage things at the lodge, I suggested. Sarah, who had just divorced, and I couldn't get married yet, but Lily had already started calling me Dad, and Sarah was working as the hostess of Mountain Lodge. For all intents and purposes, we were already a family. Now then, shall we get to work? I'm counting on you, hostess, I teased. Leave it to me, owner. Sarah laughed. We joked around like that and laughed together. Mountain Lodge was fully booked again today. I vowed in my heart to protect this lodge together with my new family.